Not talk to people when you're waiting. Is anyone there? It's not your parking space, right? No. Well, no.
Hi everybody, we're just going to wait for a few minutes until we get a few more people going on live. Just going to wait a few more minutes and we'll just get started. Oh, great. Hi Cheryl, good to see you. Hi Lucy, welcome to the show. Hi Lillian. Okay, I'm going to get started now. If people turn up, then we'll just carry on from there. So this is our card that we're doing today. So it's called a double Dutch card. Hi Justin, good to see you. Hope you're doing well. So it's a double Dutch, so it opens that way, and then we have this little tag on the inside for your sentiments or your words there. Okay, so we get started. Now I have cut these out before today, so if you've got these cut out, that's great. If you haven't, I suggest you try and cut them out as we go through the video. You can add them later, which is fine, so don't stress too much about that. So those have been cut out, ready to go. Right, so what we're going to start off with is our black cardstock. So I'm just going to pop that up there, and I'm just going to grab my trimmer, and we're just going to cut it to measure 8 by 9. So I always start, if I've got in my instructions an 8 and then a 9, I always start cutting on the 8 and then the 9. So any number that's the beginning of my instructions is the number that you should cut first. So 8 inches, flip it around to 9 inches. Hi Angela, good to see you. Miss everybody so much. It'll be great when we can get back to classes again. Okay, so 8 by 9. I'm just going to defluff mine again because my trimmer blades still have not arrived. Alright, so if you've got a pencil and a ruler, go ahead and grab those. If you want to do this, I'm going to do mine on my trimmer board, so if you want to follow along with that, that's awesome. If you have a trouble with a trimmer board, just use your pencil and a ruler. So I'll sort of do both as I go. So this is my 8 by 9. I want to put the 9-inch side at the top of my trimmer, so the long edge at the top of my trimmer, and I want to score it at 3.5 inches. So if you have one of these boards, I'm just going to flip that over so I can do my scoring. And I'm just going to push it up against there. If you don't have one of these, you can still do it. Just measure, just bring it up to, what are we scoring at? 3.5 inches. So if you have a normal trimmer, just bring it up to your 3.5 inches and score down in the groove. So I'm just going to grab mine and do 3.5 inch score. So there's my score line there. Now I want to turn it round so that the 8-inch side is at the top of my trimmer. So this is the shorter side. And we now want to score that at 2 and 6 inches. So your first score line is 2, and then you're going to come across to 6 inches there. Right, so that's the scoring done. Now what we need to do is I'm now going to turn this around again so that, as you can see, I've got a bigger rectangle there and a smaller rectangle here. So I want the bigger rectangle at the top so that that is up the top there. So what we want to do is we want to measure down here 2 inches. So on that score line, I'm just going to do it with a ruler and a pencil to start with so you know how to do it. So on that first score line, I want to measure at 2 inches. And then I want to rule along that score line right to the very end. So I want to cut all of this out. So all of that side's been cut out. So I'm just going to measure up here 2 inches again. Do a line between the 2 inch pieces. Okay, so this little square here is 2 by 2. So 2 inches there, 2 inches there. So where I've got my pencil marks there, I want to cut all of this out. So all of that gets cut out. So you can do that with a trimmer or you can do that with your scissors. I want to do the same on this side. So where that score line is again, I want to measure up 2 inches. So we're going to measure 2 inches up that score line, make a pencil mark. And then along this side here, we're going to do another 2 inches so we can put the two together. So we're going to put a line between those two there. Just let me know if I'm going too fast, everyone. It's a bit hard to know how fast to go when you're on your own. Okay, so we're just going to put a pencil mark there so that we have that line again. And then again, you're going to draw all the way down that score line. And then we're going to cut all that piece out there as well. Okay, so you should end up with a T. So you've got these 2 by 2 inch marks over here, and then you've got this long bit in the middle. So these side pieces here are going to be cut out. So that's how you do it with a ruler and pencil. If you're using a trimmer, most trimmers have the numbers down the side here. So you've got your numbers along the top, and you've also got your numbers down there. If you want to use a trimmer to do this, pop this side at your 2 inches. So we're going to bring that to 2 inches because this measures 2 inches across here. And I'm going to cut down until I get to 2 inches here. So my 2 inches on my ruler down the side here. So bring it down until you get to that. So most trimmers on their blades have a little mark where your blade is. So this one here has a little indent there. So that's where I would stop cutting. So pop it on there at 2 inches. Cut it down until that mark gets to your 2 inches on there. And then we can do the same here. So we're just going to cut down. So you would do 2 inches again and cut that square piece out. No, I've done that horribly wrong and I've cut the wrong piece out. Hang on, I just need to grab another piece of card. Sorry, I just need to grab another piece of card. Just a minute. Sorry, I got a wee bit waylaid listening to the dogs there. So 8 by 9 again. Right, I'm going to score it at 3.5 again. And then 2 and 6. And then I'm going to cut. So I'm going to bring it. Okay, so what I'm doing now is I'm bringing it to 2 inches down here. So I'm going to start cutting my blade at 2 inches all the way down. So bring it to here again, 2 inches again. Start at 2 inches down the side here. So your blade's not coming from the top, it's coming from that bottom piece there. So we're going to start at 2 inches and trim all the way down. And now what we're going to do is we're going to cut this piece here. So I'm going to bring it to 2 inches and cut down to that mark that I did. So this piece is coming off. Okay, so you should end up with it looking like this. So you do have your T there, so you at the top and down there. Thanks, Jocelyn. I know, I was too busy watching the dogs over there and I wasn't watching what I was doing. So you're right. I'm just glad everyone's being very alert today because I'm not, obviously. Okay, so we ended up with our T. So these two pieces will fold in. And then this piece is going to fold down, and that's going to be what makes your double Dutch card. Now, if these two pieces aren't folding in very well, mine are just slightly overlapping there. I'm just going to trim that down just a tiny bit, just so that it fits in there a bit nicer. There we go. So I'm just going to see that folds in there much better now. Okay, so I'm just going to fold some of my front. There we go. So that's all sitting quite nicely now. So hopefully you've gone up to there. Right, so basically all we're going to do now, it's not a hard card to do, that's the hardest part of it. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to do all this layering now. So you've got this greeny blue piece of cardstock in there. So basically what we're going to do is we're just going to make all of these just a little bit smaller than every panel. So all the panels there, so this one at the back, in there, in the middle, and both sides of those little ones. So if you want to go ahead and just cut these down to the right size, I can give you measurements as I go. I'm just going to pop it on there to give it a little bit of a smaller, so it's a little bit smaller than my black card. So for this first one here, if you need a measurement, it's going to measure 3 7/8 by 3 1/4. So that's for this one here. So you'll need to do two. So you'll need one for the front and one for the back there. So if you go ahead and do two of those. So what was the measurement again? It was 3 7/8 by 3 1/4. So 3 7/8 by 3 1/4. Is it 3 1/4? Yep, 3 1/4. So we need two of those, one for the front there and one for the other side of that. So if you want to go ahead and stick those down, you can do that now. I'm just going to defuzz mine again. These trimmer blades are so bad. They've been going all through lockdown and even before that in class, so we've done pretty well with the blade. Here we go. So that one just goes on that front panel of your double Dutch card. Okay, so that one's just going to go on the front there. So just make that nice and centered. There we go. And now I'm going to flip that over and do this side as well. So this one's going to go in there. So there is quite a bit of layering on this one. I just think sometimes layering just gives you a little bit, like, makes the card a little bit more solid. It has a good feel to it, and also just gives you a bit more of that depth and stuff on there. So that one's going to go on there. So just grab some tape and put that there. There we go. If you prefer to use glue, go ahead and use glue. I just prefer to use tape because I can take it off if I need to. I just find with glue it dries a bit too quick and you can't get it off very easily if you make a mistake. So I prefer to use tape. I use glue a lot more when I'm trying to do something that's moving, which needs a bit more stability on there, or if it's a bit heavier. So front and back there. Sorry about the noise. We're just videoing in the shop, so we've just got a few customers there. So sorry about that, people. Right, so I'm just going to do this middle piece in here now. So I'm just going to cut that down to the right size. So I'm just going to use that piece that I've just cut out before because it's almost the right size. So that one measures 3 7/8 by 5 1/4. So 3 7/8 by 5 1/4. So we just need one of those. And so that one, once you've got that one done, you can go ahead and stick that right in the center there. So 3 7/8 by, what was it, 5 1/4. So just put some tape or glue, whichever you prefer. If you want to try and keep up a bit more and you prefer to use the glue to, because it's a bit quicker, go right ahead. Yes, Angela, the shop is open. We are back in business. We've got a little table at the front of the shop so that you can give your hands a quick wash with sanitizer. We are still supposed to be doing the 1 metre distancing. Other than that, everything's pretty much back to normal, except for our classes. We're just going to give that a few weeks just to see how things go with the COVID-19, and if it goes well, then and we still have 0 cases in Tauranga, then we'll start the classes back up, but we'll let you know. Okay, so that one's on the front there. So we've got one on the front here, one in there, and one down in this middle piece. So I'm just going to do these 2 little ones on the sides now. So if these measure 2 inches by 2 inches, we'll need to make some squares that measure 1 7/8 by 1 7/8. So it's just a little bit smaller than our squares. So that one's going to go on there. So you're going to need 4 of these because we want 2 on here and 2 on here. So cut 4 of these at 1 7/8 by 1 7/8. I'm just going to do fluff while you guys are cutting all your bits out. There we go. So go ahead and pop that one down on there. So we want to cover these 2 and then those 2 there. So 4 of those at 1 7/8 by 1 7/8. There we go. So I'm just going to pop some tape on the back there. So I always do around all 4 sides just so that we make sure that it's stuck down and it's not going to lift up anywhere. So I'm going to pop that one on there. There we go. And I'm just going to pop the next one on there for that one. So right around 4 corners again, all sides there. Here we go. Okay, so that one's just going to go down on the inside here. It's a very easy card to do. You could do this for a men's card as well. It would look really lovely. Right, so I've got all my inside done here. Just let me know if I'm going too fast, and I'm very, very happy to slow down a wee bit. Right, so I'm now going to do the outside of my card. So these 2 pieces here, I'm going to stick down there. So we need 2 more pieces, 1 7/8 by 1 7/8. Okay, so that one's going to go down on the front. I have got my textured side showing up, although you're not going to see a lot of it once you've got your pattern paper on there. Oh, we miss you too, Lucy. It's going to be great when we can get the classes back up and running. We just want to make sure it's safe for everybody before we do. Okay, so that one goes on the front there. So I'm going to, if you can see, I've got no black edging around there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull it off and just cut it down a wee bit more, just so I've got a bit more of a black edge around there. So this is why I use tape, because if you do make a bit of a boo-boo with it, you can actually take it off a lot easier and redo it than you can with glue. Although glue is faster. Oh, my daughter's over there saying she disagrees completely with me.
Glue fan.
She's a glue fan. I'm a tape fan.
Buy the adhesive eraser.
Okay, I'm just going to cut this one down just a tiny bit more so that it fits on there a bit nicer. Okay, so that one's going to go on this outside one here. So the last piece on this little tag here. There we go. Alright, so we've now got all of those covered. So we're going to go ahead and do the same thing again, but with your pattern paper this time. So again, this pattern paper is going to be cut a little bit smaller than your greeny blue one there, and we're going to cover all of these again. So what I've actually done is I wanted to keep this for something later, so I've actually gone ahead and just cut that right off the bottom and used whatever's left. So if you want to be able to use that for later, so just cut that off, put it aside, you can use it for something else later, and this is what we're going to use to cover the rest of this. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to make it a little bit smaller. Now this does have writing on it, this paper, so just be aware that it needs to be up the right way. So I'm just going to make it a little bit smaller than my bluey green paper and cut that down. So I'll give you a measurement in a moment for that. Okay, so I'm just going to cut down there. So the measurement for that front one will be 3.5 inches. Where's my 3.5 inches by 3 inches. So 3.5 by 3 inches. So you're going to need 2 of those. So one for the front there and one for in there. So 2.5. What was it? I've still forgotten already. 3.5 by 3. Kayla's over there laughing at me. Okay, so 2 of those paper pieces. Make sure your writing's up the right way so it's not upside down. So you can pop that on the front there and on the back there as well. And Kayla's just told me she's got more fussy cutting, so I'm very pleased. I'm going to sit down and do fussy cutting soon. Okay, so make sure your wording is up the right way on the front, and then we're going to do this one on the front here as well. So I'm just going to defluff mine while you get yours done there. Okay. So you could actually even use this other side if you like that pattern better. You don't. Actually, that would look quite nice. So if anyone wants to do that, you can go ahead and do the other side if you want. That would look very nice. It'll give you a wee bit more contrast as well. So this is a pretty good standard card base, like the Double Dutch base card. Would be great for doing any sort of cards if you wanted something a little bit different for a man or a teenager or one of your grandchildren. Just gives it a bit of interest to it. Okay, so those 2 are done. So I'm now going to do this one in the middle here. So I'm just going to measure that up again so I know what measurement to give you. Okay. So that measurement is going to be 3 5/8 by 5 exactly. So 3 5/8 by 5. So you just need one of those ones to pop into the middle of your card because we're not going to do the back of that one. There we go. So just pop some tape on the back and that one's going to go right in the center there. Layering is quite a big thing at the moment, so if you're into layering different colours and thicknesses there, I just find that when you layer them it just gives it a bit more interest to your card, and it also gives it a nice thickness, so it just feels like it just feels sturdy in your hand and it just feels very good to feel. Okay, so that one's going to go, make sure my words are the right way, it's going to go in the middle there. Okay, so the last ones we need to do are these 2 little flaps here and the 2 little flaps on the front. So with whatever you've got left over, just cut 4 of those out. So those ones are going, I'll just measure mine up and then I'll give you a measurement. Okay, so those ones are going to measure 1 5/8 by 1 5/8. So that's just going to be a little square that goes on there. So 1 5/8 by 1 5/8, and you need 4 of those. Oh, I'm going to be so glad to get some new trimmer blades. So even on these very little ones, I'm just going to go right around the outside because I really don't want them lifting off my paper. You could, if you wanted to, just put 3 strips down the middle. I just prefer to go right around the outside because then I know it's all going to stick down. So 1 there. I'm just going to cut my other ones out as I go. Just going to make sure I've got the right measurement there. Okay. So 1 5/8 by 1 5/8 again. So 4 of those ones, front and back. Pop them down. There we go. So just pop some tape on that one and pop that onto the other side. Sorry, Angela, more fussy cutting. Oh, you guys should have had like 5 or 6 weeks to practice this now, so I'm expecting great things when you get back. Oh, yes, I would love a blade, but I've got some coming, Angela. They should be here any day. Okay, so I've got all my inside done there. I'm just going to do these outside pieces now. So 1 5/8 by 1 5/8 again. You get sick of hearing me say that. 1 5/8. Here we go. So 2 more for the front pieces here. Here we go. So I'm just going to pop this one on the front. Sorry, the dogs are just playing. That's the noise you can hear in the background. Okay, so this one's going to go on the front there too. So just pop some tape on there.
Chill out. Chill out.
Okay, so just pop that one down, and that's the last of those, I think. Yep, so everything has now had 2 layers on there. Great. So that is our... You thought it was Mike? No, that was not Mike. That was the dogs. I tell you, you guys do have to come back soon. He's having withdrawal symptoms for hassling people. So, you know, you need to get back here. Right, so back to the card. So what we're going to do now is these pieces that you've cut out, we're going to pop these on now. So you should have... How many should you have? You should have 5. Sorry, I've lost. Hang on. Yeah, you should have 5. Lost one. There it is. Okay, so I'm just going to move the trimmer out of the way now because we won't need that anymore. Okay, so I'm just going to bring my card back into shot so you can see what I'm doing. So now we just want to place one of these bigger ones on the front here. So, oh no, we don't. Oh gosh, I'm really not doing well today. We need to make this piece here. So out of your leftover black cardstock, you'll need to measure a black piece that measures 2 3/4 by 4. So a piece of black cardstock, 2 3/4 by 4. So you should have plenty left over. Okay, so 2 3/4 by 4. Then you'll need another piece of your bluey green paper and cut that one to be a bit smaller as well, and then that can go on the front of this black piece. Okay, right, so that's that piece there. So I'm just going to grab some of my green paper now, or green blue paper, make that a wee bit smaller, so I'll give you a measurement for that as well. That one is going to be 2.5 by 3 3/4. So 2.5 by 3 3/4. So just one of those, then you can stick that down onto this black piece here. Okay, so that piece there just goes onto your black piece, and then you're also going to need to cut another piece of your pattern paper, so it's a little bit smaller than this green blue one. So I'm just going to pop that right in the middle there, and I'll just give you a measurement for your blue green piece, so make sure your writing's up the right way again. Just going to make it a little bit smaller. There we go. So the measurement for that one will be 3.5 exactly by 2 1/4. So 3.5 by 2 1/4. Okay. 2.5 by 3 and what was it? 3.5 by 2 1/4. Right, so that one can go right over the top of this piece here. I hope everybody's doing okay. It's so good to hear that there's no new cases for a while, and we've got none in Tauranga, which is fantastic news. Okay, so that one goes up that way, and that's just going to go in the center. Right, now we can pop that onto our card. So now I'm going to push this away to the side. Now I'm just going to, I only want a little bit of this to stick onto here because I don't want it to stick down onto these pieces here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put half of my tape on the top half here. So just on the top half of that one, because we don't want to stick this down to the bottom. Okay, so this bit here is going to stick to the middle there. There we go, so that one just goes right in the middle. So the reason we don't want that to stick down at the bottom is so that we can open our card. So your card actually does sit quite nicely when it's done. Right, now we can start decorating. So now this piece here, you can put a bit of foam tape on and put that into the center there. So you can choose whichever one there. I might put my smaller one on there. So I'm going to put a bit of foam tape on the back of that. So just a little bit in there so that it stands up off our front of our card a wee bit. Now I am going to put just a tiny piece there just so it doesn't move away on anything. And if you wanted to, just put a little bit on those ones there, because we want it to, we don't want those little pieces to be broken off. There we go, so that one now can go right on the front. There we go, so that one's just going to go onto this little panel at the front here. So I'm just going to put mine on a bit of an angle. There we go, lovely. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're just going to do these two little ones on the side here. So this one here, I'm going to pop onto there. So I'm just going to put this down with normal tape, but you're welcome to put it down with foam tape if you like. I'm just going to put a little bit of tape in the middle. Now you won't want to put tape on the back of that one because that one's going to stand up out the back there a wee bit. So you could use glue for this. So just again on a bit of an angle there. And then we've got another small one. Where I put my small, there it is. And I'm just going to pop that one on that corner there. So we've got the two flowers on both of those little panels. So a bit of glue or tape, whichever you prefer. So just on a bit of an angle. Awesome. So now we've got that front piece done. We're nearly there, guys. You're doing really, really well. Good job. So we're just going to do this little bit in the front here now. So what I've done is I've used this cutout piece, but I've only put a bit of tape along the very bottom because I want it to be a pocket. So just a bit of tape along the very bottom so that we can slide that in and out. So just a bit of glue along there is fine as well. Glue is probably better for this because we are going to use it as a pocket, so it is going to get a lot of usage. But I'm just going to use tape because I prefer tape. I can just take it on and off if I need to. So right down the bottom there, make sure it all closes okay. So that now will have a little pocket there for your words. So you could do a sentiment on there. That's where you could write if you want. You could even put a little voucher in there, a bit of money in there if you wanted to. Okay, so you do have a little bit of white in your kit there, so we do want to cut that one down. So we will cut that one down to 3 inches by 4. So 3 inches by 4 inches. And this piece is, that's going to be your little tag to go inside your pocket there. There we go. Okay. So that's going to fit nicely in there. So I've just got another little flower to pop on the top there, and then you are done. You guys have done so good today, even though I screwed up a little bit this morning and you're sorry, screwed up a little bit at the beginning there.
They can blame me.
Okay, so that one just goes up in the top there. So there it is. There's your double Dutch card with a little pocket tag in the middle there. You could use this for anything you want to pop in there. It doesn't have to be your sentiment. You could write up here if you wanted to. And then it just all closes up like that. If you wanted to keep it nice and closed, you could put a bit of ribbon around there if you wanted to, just to give it some more definition on there. And there you have it. You guys have done so well, and thank you for bearing with me with my screw up at the beginning there. And thank you so much for joining me. I will show you quickly the card that we're doing next week. So this is our next week's card here. Just got a bit of fray on there. So this one has got a few different elements to it. So it actually pulls out of that pocket there. This is then going to be a little gift card that slots in there. So if you've got a gift card, it will go into there. So that's part of that. And then this also opens up that way. And then you've also got a little pocket in there for a sentiment, or if you wanted to pop a little bit of money or something in there. So that is next week's card. So if you want to carry on and do that online with me next Saturday, we do have kits available, so you can go ahead and order those. Thank you so much for joining me, everybody, and don't forget to upload your creations on our Craft Communities page, because we still love seeing what you're doing, and it's very, very interesting, and you guys are very talented. So thanks so much, everybody. See you next week. Bye.